Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Wanted to come to you today and say hello. Talk really quick about email. We've been on our email thing for a bit, so really excited about getting to talk to you about how to make emails mobile friendly today. So we're going to wait just a second for everybody to kind of tune in. If you are joining us today live, I'd love to find out where you're watching from. Hit your church name or where you're from down in the comments, and I'd love to see where you're hailing from today. So got a few things I want to go through with you. If you're watching this later on YouTube, I'd love to hear your comments and let me know what you think about how to make emails more mobile friendly. I know that is a huge issue for most of us in the church world, and excuse me. So we have to recognize that people are looking at our emails on their phone. That's just a reality of today. And so if we're going to do anything that's really, we want to be open, we want to be read, then we have to be ready to create things that look good on the device that they are going to be looking at this email. So gone are the days where we just send them this long, huge email about everything and they just kind of figure out what they need to know in there. That's not really how things work anymore. And so we're looking at them on these little devices. So it has to fit on the screen, things like that. We're going to talk about that. So I got 12 tips that I want to go through really fast and just give a quick explainer on each one, why that is, because I think it's really important to pay attention to. So here we go. Making an email mobile friendly. So as we continue our month here in the Seminary of Hard Knocks group about email and making our email better, I still believe email is one of the best things that we can do to communicate. And the first thing we need to do is make sure we use buttons and not text links if possible. And here's why. You got to think about, I'm using my thumb. All right, look at the real estate a thumb takes up on your screen, right? That is a lot. So I have to be able to tap whatever it is you want to link to pretty easily. Give me a bigger target, because if you give me a small target, like a little text link, that might be a problem. So you get more clicks if you use buttons, not text links. It's clearer what you want them to do. So use a button, not a text link. Second, center the button. And I know that the rest of your text doesn't have to be centered. It could be left justified, but if you put it in the center, it kind of sets it off to where it's easier to click, again, right in the middle of the email. So center the buttons and make sure they stand out. They're easy to tap, right? Number 3, when you're looking at your text, you want to put about a 20 pixel padding on each side. And what that does is that takes the text and it moves it away from the edges just a little, and it keeps it from getting right to the edge, because when you got it to the edge, not only on the right side could it go way over. I hate getting those emails where it's even on desktop where I have to scroll sideways to read it because it just keeps going way over here off the screen. You don't want that. You want it to keep everything tight in here so that all they have to do is swipe up. That's easy. Make sure that you give a 20 pixel padding is usually good padding to keep it off those edges. It doesn't look as crowded, and that's what you don't want. You don't want an email on your phone, this small little screen, to feel super crowded. All right. So again, talking about length, number 4, make it as short as possible. I like to say that if my email takes more than 1, 2 of those to read, really it's too long. You might get away with 3. But 2 swipes, I need to be able to read it in 2 swipes. That typically is about a 200 word limit, roughly 250, somewhere in that range, depending on how you have things formatted. And you want to make sure it's formatted as well. That's shorting length and bold text and all that kind of stuff. That's a freebie. Make sure that it's easy to figure out, but we'll talk about that in just formatting styles. But make it short. Just make it short, because I'm on a mobile device and I don't want to scroll. Number 5, few images. Don't use a lot of images. The reason we don't want to use a lot of images is because, again, most email clients have that turned off. But on mobile, you've got limited retail space, right? So limited places that you can put limited real estate on your screen. So make sure that when you're using images, use very few of them and make sure that they are small, which brings me to The number 6, keep the images small and compressed. You don't want huge file format sizes. You don't want to put PNGs in there. Make them JPEGs. Make them something small, easy to digest, because your phone needs to load it quick. And so if you're using images, I think this is number 6, make sure they're small, make sure they're compressed. Number 7, make sure that you keep your email under 600 pixels wide. So if you're designing an image for a header or something like that for your email, a good length here, from here to here, is 600 pixels. Phones have a easier time of like displaying that size, and it basically keeps it from being just trying to compress too much. Most email clients like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, whatever you're using, whatever you put in there, they're going to compress it down to fit into this space anyway. So you don't really have to worry about it being too large for the space like you would with text. Like it won't stick over the side, but the quality of the image and the speed of the load are really affected by how big that file is. So make sure that it is sized correctly, whether file and actual size, to fit in this space correctly, and you'll be a lot better off. 7th, I don't even know what number we're on now. Let's say 8. Use the single column format. Get everything in one column. I know that sometimes it's nice to have like this box and then text out to the side. If your email client doesn't automatically resize those for mobile, where it puts the text, the image over the top and then the text or something like that, just do away with the image. Make sure that everything is easy for me just to do this. I don't want to have to go this or this or this. I just want to do this as simple as possible. So whatever you're doing, keep it in a single column format, because that's how mobile wants to resize anyway. So if you have a email that goes out to to people with desktop and mobile, create things in the single column format for mobile first, because the majority of the people are going to read it on that. It needs to look good here first before it looks good on desktop. Even if you do single column, it'll look simple on desktop. Yes. It may have a lot of white space on the sides. Yes, but they don't care. Besides, you're not talking about a small amount of your audience most of the time anyway. All right. Single column format. Here's the next one. Don't place any text links. If you do use text links, which is okay, don't put them too close together. Because again, fat thumbs. Make sure that I can click them. And if you put them really close together, I might miss, and that's frustrating. So if you're using text links in 2 sentences, like on top of each other, especially, hit a line break so that they're spaced out enough that my thumb can hit them accurately. I hate having a tiny, just kind of barely touch the things. It's frustrating. Don't make them do that. So again, I said use buttons if you can, but if you do use text links, just make sure they're spaced apart enough that I can hit them with my fat thumbs. All right. Use a larger font too, because again, small phones, and I'm only 41, but I'm getting where I spend a lot of time in front of screens, and most people do too. So make sure the font is big enough that you can read it on a phone. I like to say 14 point is kind of the minimum. 16 if you can fit it in there, but 14 is pretty standard. Always test your email, send it to yourself, and then check it on your phone and see what it looks like. And if you have a hard time reading it, your 60-year-old member will have a really hard time reading it. Your 40-year-old member like me is going to go, ugh, and just scroll quickly and see what I can find that I need and move on. It's not going to be fun. Make it easy for them to read. So pick a large font. And then every 3 to 4 lines of text, this is number, let's say 11. I don't even know. I'm not counting anymore. I forgot. I've lost count. If you are using a lot of text in your emails, make sure that every 3 to 4 lines, take a break. Put a line break in there. Because when I'm looking at it on mobile, that's kind of one swipe. It's 3 to 4 lines. I mean, I can fit 3 to 4 lines, maybe 8 on one screen, but I'm going to swipe every 3 to 4 lines because it's just how I'm reading it. I want to keep reading at the top. So I'm going to swipe every 3 to 4. So break it up so that I can mentally break it up into these sections of your email so it's easier for me to digest. And last, here's the last tip for mobile-friendly emails. fill in the alt text for images if you use images. I said at the beginning that I'll explain what that is in a second. But I said at the beginning that most email clients have the default mode for images off. And so if you put some important information in a graphic and they have the graphics turned off, they will not get that information. So in the event they have that, fill in the alt tags with some pertinent information so that if the info is not there in the graphic and they have them off, it will show up as text on the graph where the graphic's supposed to be. It's called an alt tag. Anytime you upload to MailChimp or you upload to any other server that the email client use, you have this option to insert alt tag text to that image. So if you have an image that says join us for the barbecue, write in the alt tag join us for the barbecue. If all your info is in that image, join us for the barbecue February 12th at 7 o'clock, put join us for the barbecue February 12th at 7 o'clock. Put that in the alt text. I like to put a lot of keywords in there too because it helps find things in with SEO and stuff like that if you're putting things online for your website. But for emails, you just need to make sure the information they need is not just in the image. I wouldn't do that. But if you do put information in an image, make sure that either in copy below it or in the alt tag, you have the information. So, that was fast. 12 tips in under 12 minutes. Let me call it that. That is 12 ways to get your email mobile friendly for your church. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you